Okay, I'm recording a video on how to use Figma and other design tools to design. Okay, so you can see my screen here. Here, it's there. It's right there on my screen in all its glory. Okay, so the big design tool is Figma, which is where is your MS Paint. Your drawing tablet and everything. It's where you use everything, and all the rest is basically inspiration for the design. That's a big part too. So you just go into here, you create an account here. Mine was sign in, of course. Go into here. I'm authenticated. I go into here. You can see all the designs I've already done. All right. Normally you would go into a new design. I think I still have one available. You do only have so many available, so you have to remove some or buy premium or whatever. And yeah, you just wait for this. So it has a bunch of shapes. It has a bunch of different views. So I'm going to go over a quick thing with this on how to use it and everything. So on your left right here is going to be all the objects in whatever view you're in. Top right is going to be just more options after you click on stuff. And then up here will be your go back to home and more stuff like that. So we're just going to wait for that. So these are your different pages, of course, and everything like that. I'm just going to be working on page 1, basically. Okay, so this is where everything's at, like layers and stuff like that. Assets. I haven't gotten into that too much. So this is the name of everything. It's a draft. You're in the free mode. You go to here. You can do all the different settings, which we won't get into. Hide your sidebar if you're going to use stuff. Hide this one too now. That's nice. But okay, so the main thing that you really have to worry about is down here at the bottom. You have to worry about your cursor, hand tool, scale, that kind of thing. And they all have shortcuts, but you don't have to use them. Here's the frame. So the frame is here. You can do an iPhone, anything like that. Desktop is what we mainly be getting into. And just like the normal desktop size, I mean, the ratios are pretty much the same. Normally what you would do though is, so this is all the settings inside of it, like the attributes and stuff like that. But we won't get into that right now. We're going to focus on going quickly through all these. So this is the desktop. So this is the frame. It shows it right here. You double click, rename it whatever you want. And then you can put stuff inside of this frame. And then you can copy and paste this frame. Same name, put it over here. You can create more frames by just dragging and clicking. And you can have objects assigned to those frames. So it's kind of like a little hierarchy over here. And then after frame, there's selection and slice, which we'll probably never use. Then you get into the objects. So the main one is the rectangle. You just drag and click over here, and you can see automatically created it over here. Now it is good practice to name stuff so you know what it is. Like let's say this is a container. So this is a container for something. You probably put the other name. You don't have to do this. It just kind of helps when you're going through this because this menu is important too. So here's a box. Then you can do a line too. So a line is a line. It's pretty self-explanatory. Arrow, you got an ellipse, which is a circle. It's a funny name for it. Polygon, which we'll get into these in a second about more stuff you can do just by clicking on them. You have the star, and then you have an image or video, which you import here, which you can also use just the square or any of these other objects to import a video or anything like that. The pen is just a pen. It's really not that I don't know if I've ever really used it, so I can't really tell you that much about it. And text, you type whatever you want. We'll get back into that later. And then comment and actions, which you don't need to worry about. So just on the screen, not looking at anything over here or over here at all, because there's a lot to go through. There's little rounded edges you can do. You can just click this and drag them in like this. And it's really nice and it's really easy to do just to kind of gauge, oh, I like it like this or this or this. It's really fast. Obviously, if you ever use any editing tool for images, you can just click and drag around, or you can just go straight down. And that little red line is lining stuff up for you. So you don't have to stand there and go well, is this right? No, it automatically knows that right there you're going to be completely lined up, which is really nice. Other than that, there is no like little rotation circle, but it's over here. So when we get over to the attributes, we'll deal with that. Lines and arrows, you can just adjust them, and I'm pretty sure when they're attached, you can. No, you cannot do that. So you have to multi-select. So shift click means you get two of them, and then you get even more options. We'll get into the shift click options later. And then here's the circle. So an arc is how far the circle goes. So you can do a Pac-Man kind of thing. You can do a semicircle, and you can see the sweep, which is how much is swept, basically, you know, like how much is around it, like when you sweep something. So it's 50% here, 75%. Just if you're doing something like putting it on a, let's say a corner or something like that, and you want the different color right here, that would be a good use for that. Another thing you can do on these objects is double clicking, which I'll do right after this. So polygons, you have more. This is another form of a polygon, but this is a triangle. But you can do the rounded edges, you know, which is, I think that looks kind of cool. But do the rounded edges, and then here's the corner count. So you can go like this. Ooh. Oh, okay, it's up. You can go up for more, and just have more and more and more until you're like, that's a circle. Okay. Then you go down and down and down back to a polygon. So you use more and less. Then over here, you can make the star bigger. You can make there a lot more little stars with the count thing again. And then you can make it rounded. Okay, so that's just the basic of the objects. Now, when you get into the more detailed stuff, just in this, you can double click. Now, double clicking, as you can see, all these are singular now. You can there's different points, right? So there's like this point, I can drag it down and make it look like a object that I don't remember that I learned in like middle school probably. But you can make it look, you know, kind of like a diamond but tilted. You know, there's different things you could do with it. There's really like almost no limits to this. Another great thing is, let's say, okay, we only have a square, we have this too, but I want something that's not just four sides, you know? So you can go right here, you can go in the middle, click, drag out, and you get more sides. So you just hover over something, click it, or not something, you hover over the face or the line, and you just click it, and you can go even more detail, just mess with it more and more and more. And then you can also double click again just to put it back in its normal view. Yeah, and then the rounded for these objects, they're not going to have the little simple options. The options are going to be in this more intricate tool over here to the right. So now we're going to get into the circle. The circle has even more points, like by default. And you can control click to move these faces. As you can see, these points have like little sub points, I'll call them, which is the direction of where they're moving. Right now they're flat, so it's moving along like this. But if I move it down, then it's kind of curving it downwards further. It's kind of moving the other points that are along here that you just can't see, which is another cool feature. I do not believe, yeah, these do not have that. Let me just double check. Yeah, you can move the whole face, though, with these. Anyways, so same kind of concept, you can move it around, but it does it automatically like a slope, because, you know, it's an ellipse, and they wanted to make it smooth. You can also move this, so it's like half a square or whatever. This is the one sharp angle you're gonna have, unless you make more, obviously. But, yeah, and then you go like this, and then it's back to the normal wavy-like actions. Here, same thing as the square, basically. And same thing over here too. You can mess with the individual ones and double click off and then double click on. And once you see those lines, you'll know that you're in that little tool. Okay, now we get into the side, attributes, the special stuff. So there's alignment. We'll just go into that. I don't use this that often, but it aligns to the parent. So what's the parent? We'll get into that later, but right now the parent is just the frame. So right now it's aligning it to the left of the frame, the middle of the frame, and the right of the frame. You can see like the object is touching. And this one's like, it's completely centered. And now here's the top, middle, and bottom. Same thing as the line. I mean, still in the alignment, but it's vertical instead of horizontal. And the position is your actual like coordinates. And right now the position is set basically on the center bottom. So let's say we wanted it to be 500 pixels in the x direction, which it's like a coordinate plane, you know, y x, or it'd be the opposite because we're viewing differently. But so 500, move it a little bit to the left. So it starts at 0, and then I'm pretty sure, yeah, and then it starts at 0 up here too. So it's 0 going this way, and then it's 0 going this way, increasing. That makes sense. Yeah, so that's position, and then transform group. Here's the rotation that I was talking about. So you can just click this, which is cool about these. You could do the same thing with position. I'm getting a little warning, but you can click and drag, and it moves it like to your dragging. So I can like be like, no, I don't like it there, instead of going back and forth and clicking every single value. So if you hover over the little icon, not this, but over the little icon, and move it, you can move it left and right. You can adjust. And then going up makes it even faster. So boom, gives you even more sensitivity. Or down, you can see that little scrubbing thing at the bottom that it's telling you about. So here is the angle that I'm going to be messing with when I move it left and right. You can obviously reset this whenever you want. Just put 0 in it, and it's just following a plane too, the four one. So 0 degrees, or we're backwards. So 0 degrees, and then 90. Wait, this is so difficult. I'll put it on the screen. But then 180, then 270, then 360, and then negative is just the opposite direction. So like, I'll put it on the screen again because we're completely facing the opposite direction. But you click here, it'll move it 90 degrees automatically for you. It'll rotate it like a corner, like it's saying. You go here and it'll flip it horizontal and flip it vertical. Pretty self-explanatory. And then here's the layout. So this is the actual object. So position is basically consistent throughout all these. I mean, you can see so is layout, so is appearance. There's pretty consistent with all the objects, which is very nice. So now we get into layout. So you can change the width, same way, with the little icon if you want, and the height. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. But no matter where you transform it, it will do the width and height like if you didn't transform it at all. So like right now the height's being changed, but it looks like the width. But if I go and unflip it, then it's obviously the height. So sometimes you do want to do the layout first, and it really doesn't matter. I mean, like, as long as it looks how you want it to look, width or height, it's just what corresponds to it. Normally I just look at which one's smaller and then like, oh, okay, that one's, either the one I'm editing or the one I'm not. So opacity is, can you see through it? So the lower it gets, the more you can see through the back of it. And then, or we're getting into appearance, I'll say that. So here, right here, it'll link him to an aspect ratio in the layout. We'll go back to that right now. Unlock the aspect ratio. So like, let's say I like this, it's an image, it's perfect size. So I just want to make the width bigger. Oh, okay. Now they're both. You can see this little thing right here. It indicates that both of them in the exact same aspect ratio, they increase and decrease, which is very nice. I used to have to calculate every single increase or decrease. So yeah, now we get into the corner radius, which I said before, we couldn't just edit any of these anymore because we messed with them. So the corner radius, it's an interesting measurement. It's kind of like completely, up to them, whatever it is. But I think it's more in percentages. If you click this little icon right here, it'll show you a little bit more, extra small, small, medium, large. So like large right here on this large of an object, it's not going to do anything. You can barely even tell. But if you just kind of move your cursor left and right, or go from 60 to 40, you can tell that it's really changing. Now, if it's a smaller object, like let's say I want the object is this big, we'll just say that, and I want it to be 5. Oh wow, that's a big change. So it really depends on the size of the object too, which is what makes it a little bit confusing. But let's say for this object, I just want this little corner, just this corner right here, radius to change. So the only way I can do that is, I'm pretty sure, no, it's changed. So, all right, I'll get back to that. Right now we won't worry about it, but I thought there was something we could do. Maybe not. Okay. Yeah. So then we get into the more complicated things. So fill's big, right? Fill is the infill or the color of the object. So you can change it around here. It's the basic color panel. Hex values you don't have to worry about unless you're copying it from something else. This is normally what you're looking at is hex values. You can also do RGB, CSS, all this stuff. It gets a little complicated. You don't have to know what the numbers mean. They just change with the color, and it's easier to copy and paste. So, oh, this contrasts with your background too. So that's nice. That's a new feature. Blend mode, you can darken it. You can multiply it. I'm not too familiarized with that, so I'm just gonna leave that alone for now. But there are libraries too of like just common colors, like iPad sidebar text, the color for that. There's just a bunch of different libraries for everything. But yeah, here's simple design system, and yeah. So mainly you do want to go to a color design tool for that, but we're gonna look at right here, custom. So you can do a gradient, which means it goes from one color to another. You can slide it, and you can see where the line of the gradient changes while I do this. You can move it in here, and you can tilt it. You can actually move these left and right. So you can change each color, same little wheel, or you can change this, and this is opacity too. So and that changes down here. But yeah, so you can mess with that a little bit. Radial, which is a little circle. Angular, which is just don't use it. It's very difficult to implement. And diamond, which is also difficult to implement. So yeah, and then here's the image, which you can upload from the computer. We'll just use this right here because it's royalty free. But so this is the cool part where the images come in. I mean, this is really high quality. So you can fill it, which means the image is just like being kind of cropped out by the design. You can fit it, which means that it'll like fit into. So down here, there's a little bit of it that's being like gone because, or like of the object that's just being removed because we're trying to fit the whole image in there. It can't right now, but you can mess with that a little bit. Crop, you just kind of move it to yourself. So this is more where the image kind of does it more manually of where you put it in. You just hit enter, and then boom, you have where it's cropped out at. Tile, which is just, it's going to tile it over the entire image, and you can mess with the percentages on this. So like 10% of the image size, and it's just going to tile it all the way across. Exposure, just mess with these around. You can see what they do. I wouldn't mess with them too much unless there's something you want to change, like if you want it to be more, more this or that. But there's videos too, but you're not access to that. You have to be subscribed or something. So those are the images, and you can do that. And this is fill, and those are the images in fill, which you can do in any object ever. Stroke is the border. So like you see right now, there's like a little black border around it. And so the same fill, so you can even put an image. Position is the center of it, inside or outside of the object. So if you want it to cut into the object or outside of the object, there you go. The weight is like how big it is. So 5 would be like a thicker border. Same thing with that. You can move it up and down. Effects get a little bit more complicated. Inner shadow, makes a shadow inside. As you can see right here, there's like a little, it's like it's sunk into the page, right? And you can mess with this, like the position of it and, you know, how blurry it is and everything like that. There's a drop shadow, which is behind it. It dropped, like there's an object that's dropped onto a table. Layer blur is where you kind of like, this is, in my opinion, this is a really cool part, is layer blur and background blur. Background blur I don't use too much, but it blurs the background. So this is the inside, that's the outside. So the layer blur you can really crank up and down. You can really crank it up super high. Now you don't want to use it too often because it kind of, you know, it loses the focus, you know. But if there's something in the background that you want to put that you don't want so people to look at, do a low blur. But like, let's just say for this circle, or here, I'll make a new one. We'll make a new circle over here. And right now in the hierarchy, we'll put it all the way at the bottom so stuff gets on top of it. But let's make it red. Let's make it pretty see-through already. And then let's do the not drop shadow. Let's do the layer blur. And now let's crank it up to like 1,000. You know, like really high. Oh, can't even see it. So let's do 100. Maybe 200. Yeah. And then you can just kind of mess with it on like how big you want it. And it almost looks like a little spotlight in the background. You know, like a little, I don't know, just like not that noticeable, not that bad. As you can see right now, it just kind of hurts to look at this object, which is supposed to be in focus with blur. But like if we put it down here, it just kind of makes this one pop more, especially with a white background. So that's a cool use for that. Other than that, that's about it for what you really need to get into. Export, I would just have to do. But yeah, so that's the main gist of the objects. Text is a little different. Obviously, you click and drag, you can type. The text actually shows up over to the left too on the object list. But position's the same, layout's pretty much the same, appearance pretty much the same still. But here you get a new section, typography. So there's different fonts. My favorite is Poppins because it's just easy and it's so simple. But yeah, you actually have to Control A or go over the entire text and then change it, or nothing will happen. So now we're at Poppins, and you can see the change from Enter, which is just kind of the default one, to Poppins, which is the more fancy default one, in my opinion. But okay, you can go to regular, bold, extra bold, black, really light. It just depends on what you're doing. This looks more sleek, you know. This looks more extra, like you're putting stuff out there. But I personally fall into this where you don't want to make everything bold. Like you don't want to make it bold because you just feel like, oh, maybe he's not going to see it or something like that. So you just want to be very careful with that. You can make stuff italic, bold italic. There's a lot you can do with this little button right here. And then here's the sizes. So it's like a Word document, you know. You go up, down, and sizes. It's pretty self-explanatory. Line height. So that's like every line that this thing creates. There's like a little height right here, and it's not too important. But here, this is auto. You can make it shorter. Okay. So 100%. Oh, I'm not selected any of the text. I do that often. So 50 instead, right? And now they kind of look like they're overlapping, but they're not really. It's just kind of tighter. So if you're working in like more of a confined space vertically, that's nice. And then if the font's just weird, there's letter spacing too. So like 50%, it's like really wide, or if you're doing like a different design or something like that. But you can also do like negative 10%, and they're like really close together. But that's normally if fonts are just kind of weird in this. So alignment, middle aligned of the text box. Nothing else, just of the text box. So like widened out, now it's just still middle aligned. Right aligned, left aligned. Justified, so it's middle, top, and bottom, of the text box. Once again, the parent is the text box. Whenever you see any of those alignments, like over here, this is talking about the text box, this is talking about the text. So left will be of the parent, which is the frame, and so on. Fill will be your text color, because it's the fill of the text. Stroke, same thing, it's just a border on the text. I'm not too big of a fan of it, kind of looks cartoony, but same effects, same export, same everything like that. So text really isn't that much different. There's no like fancy things you can do. You can go like this. So the text doesn't actually have to fit in the text box, which is to me kind of cool because I never really mess with it. But you can make it wider or shorter, and sometimes it's useful to just say, "Oh, well, I kind of like how it looks three like this, but three like this looks kind of weird. So I'm just gonna move it." It's really easy to use that. You just click and drag for all this stuff. I don't know if I explained that, but you just click on it and then drag it around. Okay, so that pretty much does it for over here and to the right. So now we get into the hierarchy, which it can get really confusing really fast. So I'm gonna do a quick, let's just say a login page real quick. So very, very, very simple. So we'll have the title up here, right? This is what I like to do. I like to section stuff off. So normally you don't want the title that big, but the title's gonna be up here, and I can Control C, Control V, making a new one. Okay, so the title's up there, and I want a little design up here. So like the user can look at it while he's, kind of represents our brand or something like that, Anyways, so over here will be the actual like form, right? Make it a little bigger probably for them to fill out, with all their information. And I don't like the boxy style of this. I'm gonna make it a little like that. So I already know that these three objects are gonna be like my main objects, the things that build up the entire website. So right here, I'm gonna make it an image. So why not do that right now? I'm gonna do the same image. There, he's succeeding. We're showing success. And now images, when you do resize them in boxes, they like automatically adjust because of the way we do it. And I fill, like fit and stuff like that. It'll automatically do that for us. Mess with it. And it'll just try to keep its aspect ratio so it doesn't get stretched or like smushed. But you can change that too in the settings. So here's the title, right? So this is by itself. There's no, as you can see on the left here, there's no parent. So let's get into parents a little bit more. So this one's gonna have no parents, so we don't have to worry about it. So right here is a frame. The frame is where everything's in. You can actually have stuff outside of the frame. I'll do a little demonstration of that real quick. You can have stuff outside of the frame, but now like when you go to design, what's the point? It's not in there. So now you can make it a part of that and then put it right back in there. Okay. And now we'll do a quick little demonstration of the hierarchy of like the order, because it does matter the order of these three objects right here. So rectangle 2, which is the image, which I can't spell, but is on top of everything. That it's on the hierarchy. It's the highest thing. So it's on top of everything right now. And then this rectangle here, which will be the login modal, which is just like a little fancy word for form and pop-up thing. But that's above this. So I'll change the color real quick. We'll just go darker. It's above this little title section, which I'll name title real quick. So as you can see, the image is above the login's above the title. So if you do have stuff overlapping, it's important to realize that, I can just click and drag, move it down here. You can look at the little white thing to see if it's going over or under. And yeah, just check with that to see where you're at. I mean, you could see it, but to change it, I should say. And now let's say they're all stacked up here, but man, I really want the image all the way to the back. So you can right click. So there's a big options. I encourage you to just kind of look at all these, maybe mess with them. But right click right here, and then you can send to back. So it sends it all the way to the bottom of whatever parent you're in, and everything overlaps it. So then Control Z, bring it back over here. All right, now we'll get into right here. So this is gonna be, let's just say the name section, and this will be the password, and this will be submit. Okay, so these three right here, like this whole thing, let's say I wanna move it. Everything inside of it doesn't move with it. So what we can do with that is actually select all of it, right click, and then do group selection. So now you can see over here on the left, it's actually one group. It's not like all the different objects. It's like a frame. It's the parent of all of it. So now I can move it all at once. I can make it all smaller or all bigger, and they just kind of automatically adjust the space in between. So you group right here, you can name it whatever you want, right? You go into here, and then you can see all the individual objects. And then now this whole group could be under the image, you know? I don't have to go through every single one of them and put up and down. And then it has its own hierarchy in here. Okay, so the login modal, which is the background, is in the back. If I put it up above this one rectangle here, it's going to get hidden. So this rectangle here, you know, you can put text inside of it too. So when you put something, it might not go inside of the object or the group that you just created. So when you put something, or not put something, when you make a new object, make sure to just double check, click and drag, and it will almost always go to the top of whatever parent you're at because, you know, you're focusing on it. But you can change that later. So let's say right there, that's just one of the names I'm doing because it's in a different language. Let's just say, like the titles, I should say. Like this is a name field, and then this is where they enter the name. So I'm going to change the color so they can recognize that. And then I'm going to go over here, and this wants to be a submit button, but I don't really want that much text to confuse the reader or something like that, or the user. So I'm just going to make it green. You know, you see a green button, you're going to think, you know, you click it when you're done. Anyways, this is a very simple, looks pretty bad because I haven't messed with the colors or anything. But, and then the title, you know, you just put your own little title in here. And I really suggest you follow along. Probably should have said that earlier, but try to do this on your own after we do this, just from memory, and then go back to see and check what you did right or wrong. So now this text is all the way up here, but I don't want it to be. I want it to be down here next to the title thing. So another thing you can do is see, oh, right here and right here I want to do it. So I shift click, right click, and then do the exact same thing. I just group it. Same thing as clicking and dragging in here. And now it's a group together. So there's my title. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You can do so much with just those simple little tools. You can also just like let's search for, or let's not search for an image. You can also go into the frame, and the frame has the same things. You know, it's got a lot of the same different same different attributes. It shows you the colors that are used in it. So like the text, you can change it all at once, which is super nice. Like let's say I want all my buttons to be a different shade. Instead of going through each one and then shift clicking here and here, in the things that are similar, it will show right here, like that you can change them. But since these are two different colors, they're not similar, of course, you know, makes sense. But if I go into here, in here, oh, maybe not. Maybe you can't change the fill of two objects at once. But there's certain things you can change at once, like the height and the width. But yeah, there's still so much I do not know in this. But anyways, that's Figma. Definitely the most important part. And then you can go into Dribble, which you don't need to account for. But let's say a login screen. Okay, you dribble with 2 B's or 3 B's .com. You can just go in here, search whatever you need, login screen, and it'll show a bunch of ideas. Like right here, a little cute idea. You know, a lot of them are mobile too. So like, let's say I don't want mobile, I want website. And then it'll show most of the website ones. But let's say I want it for tech. It's going to have more of the techie kind of vibe with it. You know, it's not just the more modern vibe, I would say, or feel to it than anything. But yeah, there's a bunch of other people's designs that they don't care if you kind of either copy or take inspiration from. And then we go into ChatGPT. So we're in ChatGPT. Oh, I don't know any ideas at all. What are some good login screen ideas for an app? So, or for a website, right? For a theme with something that tracks your meals. We'll just say that. So you put in the app idea, and it'll kind of make it related, which is super nice. You know, if you just can't think of anything. And it does come up with some pretty bad ideas, but you can use those to like, okay, it wants me to put dinosaurs on it for some reason, but I really like bees, so I'm going to put bees on it. So something that tracks meals. So now it's going to come up with some clean and minimal food imagery. It tells you what elements there are, you know, split screen with daily meals. There's just certain things that are really good ideas. Some of them really aren't. Like retro calorie tracker, I don't think that would be that big of a thing. Or sorry. or mood-based design. That's just weird to me. But if you're going into more intricate designs or want more intricate, oh sorry, that's just the sponsor, more intricate information, you can go into cssawards.com and you can just see all the winners and nominees, like right here. And these are real websites you can just click into. You just click on it and click into it, and boom, it's got this cool like video right here. We're zooming into the thing. Now this is like some really advanced stuff that I'm probably not going to get into, but there's just so many different different design choices that they did here. Like right here, and this pops up. It's kind of out of nowhere, but I don't know. I'm not a big fan. But this is all the stuff that, you know, the thing that I'm looking to do isn't the best. But and then you can also just look it up on Reddit. There's some good good design inspiration websites all over here that people like, obviously. Yeah, so where do you get your images is a big thing. Just like stock photos, other things like that. So if you go to Unsplash, if I could spell, you don't need an account or anything like that, but you can go search for images. So like guy fishing on a car. So there's guys sitting out in the middle in a car. So obviously there's not many people fishing on a car, but it'll show fishing. It'll show, you know, more and more fishing. It'll show cars. So it'll show what you say. Now, a lot of them, as you can see right here, have the little plus icon, which means you have to pay for it, which I'm not going to do. So instead of going to license, I'm going to go to free. So these are all the free images I can just download and use, and it automatically has accreditation, so I don't need to worry about it at all. So I really like this guy. All I do is click right there. Boom, it's downloading it. And then I can use it and just click over here, drag into here, drop it, boom, an image right in my frame. Didn't have to do anything, didn't have to make a box or anything to put it into, no uploading files. It's a very smooth and seamless little way to do it. And let's say I want it inside of my thing right here. Right now it's at the top, or my login. Now I'm kind of making it the background right there. So now this is the little fisherman's the background instead. So yeah, that's just a little quick tutorial on design. Alright, so one more thing I did forget to put in the video is your color palette. So the different colors you use and stuff like that. Sometimes it's, especially for websites, it's good to stick with a singular color or a set of colors for different objects and stuff like that. So right here there's Coolors, COOLORS.co. This is a great little website. You can start the generator, shows you everything about it. You can follow this tutorial, of course, go all throughout that. But the main gist is you press space, it randomly changes all of them, right? You press this little lock, it keeps that one there, and it kind of changes all around to kind of mix with this one. Like let's say I really like this color, right? You can favorite it, you can do a bunch of other stuff. You lock it, hit space, lock this one, I like this one too, this one, and I really like this too. So this is my color palette. Now what I would do is go to here, and this is the hex value I was talking about earlier, copy that, and then paste that into Figma as well. There are also, if I remember correctly, right here, explore popular palettes. So here's a bunch of other colors that, you know, really go together and people like to use. So just scrolling through here would also help. And as you can see the hex code of each one. You can click on it and it'll copy it for you. So yeah, don't forget about this part. It's very important to have a consistent color palette.